What's up, everybody? If you want to change your life starting today or tonight and you want to know how to do that, there's something called a dopamine detox. Now, this is something that I learned or heard about at least from the YouTuber Hamza. Big fan of his content, big fan of his work, and he's the one that introduced me first to the idea of a dopamine detox. Now, what is a dopamine detox? If you're not familiar, a dopamine detox is when you go on this challenge, you go on for how many days, whether it be 2 weeks, a week, a month, 6 months, or you make it a lifestyle. You go on a certain amount of time to where you change your life by detaching basically, from a lot of easy dopamine releases. So if you don't know what dopamine is the feel-good hormone or reward hormone. So after you have sex, after you eat chocolate, after you smoke, after you do drugs, dopamine is released, and it's a reward. It's like, oh, that feels good. And if you indulge in something too much, like if you have too much weed or you drink too much alcohol, the dopamine will overload, and it starts to become where dopamine, you keep wanting dopamine, so you keep doing it and keep doing it, and then eventually it gets to the point where you're not even enjoying it, but you still do it. That's how addictions come about. That's why you masturbate, that's why you watch porn, that's why you're addicted to smoking, alcohol, all that stuff. That's how that works. So, what this challenge sets you off to do is to limit or eliminate completely all bad dopamine, right? And so what is bad dopamine? Dopamine is cheap dopamine. So for example, dopamine is released if you eat chocolate, right? But what happens when you have that dopamine? So this is your level of dopamine, right? It's just steady. Once you have chocolate, it's going to go up, and then it's going to go down to baseline, and then below baseline. So what happens is, however high it goes when you eat the chocolate and you feel like good reward, it's going to go down equivocally from below the baseline. So now that is your new baseline. So that's why if you indulge in too much dopamine, you're not going to be a happy person overall. Your baseline is going to be fucked. You're going to have these nice little peaks, but your baseline is going to be fucked, right? So there are certain activities where your dopamine does the opposite, right? So if you could do something that is hard or somewhat painful, right? Your dopamine goes down and then boosts up, and now that is your new baseline. And what you're aiming for is the higher baseline, because you want to be a overall happy person, right? For most of the time. You can't always have dopamine, high. It's not healthy, it's not good. That's not how humans are designed. And that's why dopamine is this way. So you want to, again, eliminate or extremely decrease all bad dopamine, right? And before we get into the bad dopamine, the good dopamine, we should decide how long you want to do this. For me personally, this is something I'm going to do. It's a challenge I started in a week, but I'll explain that once that day has come. But if you wanted to make a challenge to where you just want to reset, I would recommend 21 to 90 days. But I would extremely recommend doing this for a lifestyle, which means you're going to have to ease into it. And it can't just be like extreme, right? So decide that. Then what you want to do, once you decided how long you're going to do it, or if you're going to make it a lifestyle, and you're going to change yourself, right? Which I highly recommend. If you want to make this for the long run, you want to be an overall happy person for the long run, right? So, first thing you want to do is eliminate all bad dopamine. Some examples of that are like phone. So, the phone is not a bad thing, but social media, endless scrolling on social media is bad. Social media can be good if you enjoy like a really good YouTube channel. Like I enjoyed the Sidemen, they're a UK group, and I really enjoy their videos. Other than them, whenever I'm on YouTube, I'm dissatisfied because I'm just scrolling through and clicking on stuff, and I'm not really enjoying it. So you want to decrease or completely eliminate stuff like that. Video games, you want to eliminate or reduce that. Porn, masturbating, drugs, weed, alcohol, junky food, processed, microwavable food, McDonald's, All that stuff, all what I just listed there is bad dopamine. Okay? That is considered bad dopamine. You want to completely eliminate or severely reduce most of these. Now, the way I would do this is I would consider moderation, right? Especially if you're doing this for the long run and this is your new life. So you can't just completely eliminate all these things all at once. It's not going to work like that. But what you can do is, I would follow the 80-20 rule. And what that is 80% of the time you're on your grind and you're not doing these things, 20% of the time you are. So what does that look like? It's moderation, and it's moderation in and of itself too. That old saying, everything in moderation, including moderation, that's what this is. So I would go through a list of all the bad dopamine that you currently partake in, right? And once you have that list, I want you to rank them in order of most enjoyment to least enjoyment, right? Okay? Once you've done that, I then want you to take 20% of them, and probably you want to do the top 20% because those are the ones you enjoy the most. Take the top 20% and leave those and put them in the limit category. So you're not going to completely take these out. You're going to severely limit these from now on. And the rest of the list, the 80%, you're going to have to completely eliminate. Okay? You do that with all your bad dopamine. And that's what a dopamine detox is, basically. That's dopamine detox 101. You do that, your life becomes better. Now, I also recommend that because you aren't doing a lot of these bad habits, let's say you're not playing video games anymore, let's say you're not eating junk food, let's say you're not smoking weed, let's say you're not smoking, let's say you're not drinking, but you still have chocolate once here and there, you still have social media for a little bit, every day. Now, you want to, because you have cut all these bad habits out, you're going to have more time to do better things. And this is where the good dopamine comes in. You want to fill up these things, or this extra time slots, I would say, with good dopamine. So what does that look like? Exercise, working out, going to the gym, weightlifting, calisthenics, cardio, go playing a sport, basketball, football, anything like that, walks, journaling, like gratitude journaling or just journaling in general, listening to music, reading books, reading the Bible, the Quran, or the Torah, whatever religion you're a part of, drinking coffee or tea. None of that Starbucks bullshit. Get some just black coffee. If you want to drink some coffee, be a man about it. If you want to drink tea, just drink some green tea, preferably, not this boba tea shit with the little balls. No one wants balls in their mouth, right? It's fucking gay. No Starbucks, no boba tea. Don't do that shit. Just drink some regular ass tea or regular ass black coffee. Okay? Cold showers, stuff like this. Not only are these things good for you, it's gonna raise your dopamine. So your dopamine's not gonna be low anymore because you're cutting out the bad dopamine, and it's gonna be even higher because you're putting in and replacing it with good dopamine. So that's what you want to do, and that's how you do a dopamine detox. Again, there's different variants, and the variant I'm doing in a week is specifically designed for the YouTube channel and for something that I think fits my life. But again, that's the general rule. If you have any more questions about how to do a dopamine detox and how it can be personalized to your own life if you have certain situations, let me know down below. I'd be glad to answer, have a little chit chat, or just look up on YouTube more dopamine detox videos. I would recommend Hamza in particular. He's really good on that. And yeah, so if you want to change your life, this is the way to do it. Dopamine is a big thing, and if you want to learn more about dopamine, I would recommend Andrew Huberman. He's a neuroscientist, smart guy, knows a lot about this. Anyway, that's been your boy Hercules. I will see y'all in about a week, or about 6 or 7 days now, by the time this video is recorded. And I'm going to be on my dopamine detox challenge. It's going to be at least 21 days, I think. And I will see y'all then. I'm going to be posting a couple more videos before then, or at least every day until then. So I will see y'all in a week with my challenge. Particularly, I'll give you a little hint of what it's called. It's called a monk mode dopamine detox. That's the challenge I'm going on. 21 days at least, and I will see y'all